At the end of January 2024, I had an enlightening chat with a homeless fella outside of a chip shop. And here's someone to announce.
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Thanks, Ron. And let's go. Hi, my name's Jason, and I've started the Human Impact channel to be able to share, highlight, help people understand the impact of actions, whether that's actions to yourself, whether that's actions on others because you just don't realize what you're doing or what the impact is. And that is why. And this is based on 15 months of learning after a mental health breakdown and decades of stuff before that. So to set the scene, I have no money.
Help me, I'm poor.
I have decided that I'm just going to go for a walk. So I've got a one-way bus journey. The plan is that I'm going to get the bus one way, walk back along the coastline in Norfolk. I've got about £10 to my name. Literally £10 to my name. And I needed £8.70, I think it was, the next day because I was going to the crisis care cafe that I said I would go to, and that was a commitment that I'd made to the police. And it was a place where I just, felt comfortable to be able to talk to people. And there were people there who I thought were going to at least listen and not judge based on what was going on. So yeah, like I say, I had literally £10. I had a little bit of money on a Monzo card, but a few days before that, I'd received an email from Monzo to say that they had cancelled my account, and the money that was on there, like I say, it wasn't very much, but that had been cancelled, and that means the money was on hold pending getting them new account details, blah, 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 blah. That money ended up being on hold for 6 weeks. Thanks a bunch, Monzo. So yeah, I had about £10. I needed £8.70 for the next day. I've jumped off the bus and I'm walking past this chip shop and I'm like, smells nice. And I saw this homeless dude there, and I'm not going to mention his name. I did ask him his name. We did chat. I should just call him Engelbert because, as has been proven by people, malicious, vicious, nasty, horrible people who have found out who I know and gone out and tried to blackmail them. Blackmail boy. Naughty, naughty.
Naughty, naughty. Very naughty.
So I've had a quick chat with homeless Engelbert and I thought, fuck it. I said a swear word.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
So I thought, yeah, fuck it. Let's get a bag of chips and a couple of bottles of water. And I quickly calculated that if I walk 5 miles in one direction, I could then get the bus, the second part, and then back to that first part for half the price. So, for walking 10, 12 miles was half the bus fare. But it meant that I could just sit down and just have a chat with homeless Engelbert. And it was just such an enlightening conversation. This is something I'm going to share with you in a second. Just that, what is that one thing that I took away from that conversation? Because I felt so much gratitude afterwards. And I'm not sure this is going to come across in the way that it's meant to. But when I was speaking to Engelbert, the reality of it all was the very fine line between me being homeless and me being not okay, if very far from okay, but at least I had a roof over my head at that point in time. The very fine line was 3 people. 3 people. Again, one was my mum, one was a great friend, and one was someone else. 3 people that stopped me from utterly spinning out, from going all freaking Jerry Maguire.
I'm not gonna do what you all think I'm gonna do, which is just flip out
on it. And that's the harsh reality. That is that fine line. And it reminded me of a chat that we had, when I was volunteering for Mountain Rescue. And I went to this amazing lecture at the local hospital up here, where again, I'm not going to mention names, where the person was presenting data on rescues. And, part of the essence was in one area of the national park, the rescues that we go to, you're either fucked or you're fine. You're either taking big trauma, big sick stuff, or you're going to a lower leg ankle twist. And that information would help you to be able to know what you carry, what the fast response team are going to take, what the secondary teams are going to need, what type of medical information you need, who you send as that fast response, paramedics who have got access to pain relief drugs and doctors and that kind of stuff. But it's that same principle, and it is such a very fine line. You know, think of all the homeless people out there, and there are stats out there about demographics and all that kind of stuff. The very fine line between me being homeless and me not being homeless and on the streets was just a couple of people. And I want to reinforce that, and certainly from the perspective of just making sure that you have amazing people around you. You know, for me, certainly there's a period of my time where I just forgot how amazing family are. I become so isolated through the alcohol, through the eating issues, through the severe depression that comes with, you know, running this business. And it's probably, I say probably, it's definitely been in my life for a long, long time. Even going back to the corporate days of, you know, global IT sales and sales director stuff. So that's what I really want to kind of get home to you in this, and it is that idea that there is a very fine line. And homeless Engelbert was telling me about he was in a relationship. That relationship ended, and I'm not going to tell you the circumstances behind it. He had everything taken away from him. He didn't have people around him to be able to look after him and support him. That sent him down a spiral of addiction and people, you know, the people judging and pushing him away. And he ended up traveling multiple hundred miles to remove himself from that situation and was sleeping on the streets. I was very, very close to becoming that. I have no doubt. And it is thanks to a couple of people who stood by me as trusted friends and family members that stopped that from happening. So that's really where I want to come from on this one, is to first of all share that story of that fine line, to share some of the insights around that, and also to hopefully help shape some of those judgments you may have or the things that you see out there. There are people out there that may not be in that position that you have. You may be surrounded by wonderful, loving people and you just can't see. Your brain just doesn't comprehend that this can actually happen until it happens to you. And I fucking hope it doesn't, because it is a horrible space to be in. So look, I'm going to finish on this. I shall give you a stay classy YouTube, since we started with a Ron Burgundy. And I'd love you to subscribe. If you choose not to, hey, that's cool. If this is too close to the bone for you in terms of the insights that are being shared, you know what? I'm sorry, but this stuff does need to be talked about. And I do see you, and I hope that you find the resources that you need. As always, do go and check out, if you're in the UK, places like Mind, Crisis Care on the website. Get in touch with Samaritans if you need to, and I'll drop a couple of resources in, because I think it's really important that if you are listening or watching and listening, I'm not putting captions on, so if you're watching, then you're probably just listening to me being like kind of like Marceau. But please do, I'm not making light of the situation. Please do go and seek the help. Please do connect up with people. And until the next video, stay classy, YouTube.